More podcasts for your head top. So watch how you speak on my name, you know? This is King Bo Christ, and you're now tuned in to the I Say That to Say This show.
Oh, I like that. That's cool. That was
Beautiful
cool.
people. Episode 40.
Sound like you.
You know what the fuck going on, man. I got the boy Things Greg sees. We back at it.
Yeah, man. Sound like you rehearsed that intro.
You know what's I try to go hove. I told you I don't like write it down, but I have it in my head like, all right, when I start the podcast, it just came out. Like I forgot that I was gonna say it and it just came out. Anyway.
Gotcha. Pause.
But I have been holding that. That's been locked and loaded all day, no doubt. But
pause.
Oh, see, that's what I'm saying. It's after midnight. Here we go with the shit. He was holding on to that one too. He was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get the nigga." He got me last week. Yo, that's funny. Squeeze first, ask questions last. Listen, man. We
Jay-Z quotes right there.
Also, you know what I want to say? You know what I want to start off? We're not because I know we could probably go on for a half an hour, so I'm gonna try not to do it. I just wanted to add to compound a podcast from some episode 42, the Chris Brown debate. Chris Brown is the hook master, right? So if you took, I think I put it on Instagram. If you took all of his hooks and made like a compilation album, bro, that shit would be a classic album, but in its own right. So, listen, like, and I don't want to go through the debate again, but I was just thinking, like, I forgot, like, he also might be, like, I'm not saying, see, T-Pain had a hell of a run, and who else?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, I'm forgetting.
Gyro.
Right, like, the Murder Inc. had a hell of a run. 50's mixtape hooks was crazy. So, like, there's a top, like hook artist. I don't know what that's called. I can't think right now because it's late.
Oh, okay. I know what you're saying. Like Nate Dogg, Ty Dolla
Right. Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a certain.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel like he's up there too with them. Like I'm like, this guy is fucking. He's dynamic. You know, this guy's. He's good. So we're gonna say, well, we're gonna put a button on that. But I had to just add, I've been holding that on to that since last week also. We've moved on to old news, but good news. More life. And I mean, see, that's when I said it to you, I'm like, yo, More Life is a classic. You were just like, nah. Oh no, I just said it and you were like, nah. And I was like, see, I know where you're coming from. But I'm thinking, like, as soon as you said it, I'm like, see, I can't even say you're crazy, or I can't. It's not like that. Like, I'm thinking like 10 years from now.
You know, it's so crazy. You know, because I'm not sure that all the people know, but he wrote that on Twitter. Like, yo, I think More Life is a classic. I literally typed nah. and I can only imagine the as he read it, how, you know, what face he made at that point was just like, wow, he gonna hit me with just one word though.
Nah, no bullshit. I saw it but I just got it. Like when I saw it now, I was like, yeah, that's probably what I would have said too. I get it. and this is the crazy shit. Also, if you said like, I don't know. I feel like Drake is Chris Brown is more of a case than Drake with classic albums, even though Drake is my guy. The shit that everybody else deems classic, I actually don't like that. I'm not gonna say I don't like it, but it's not a classic to me. If you want to, and if it went in as a classic, I'd be like, yeah, okay, great. But if I had to pick it, it wouldn't be. What's the shit? Damn, I just started throwing a blank. Take Care.
Really?
Like,
okay.
that's everyone's favorite, but it's not mine. I'm a weirdo because I like I actually think Views is my favorite Drake album. Right, but
Take Care was a better album than Views, but
sure,
I
and
get
that's
what you're
what
saying. Like
I respect it. That one I respect. Like if my
but with
favorite.
Drake,
No, go ahead.
you know, now you know it's funny because with Drake it's the mood that you in, because a lot of people, like, you talk to people now, a lot of people like Nothing Was the Same. You know how diverse the project was,
Oh, of course.
and
That's my number two.
and they had time to grow. Um, you go to Views, and same diverse project. Um, his raps was on point, singing got better. Um, you know, when Nothing Was the Same, maybe 40's best effort as far as beat selection. Um, but you know, you go to Take Care, and as a rapper, I feel like that was his best rap project.
Really?
But again, as a rapper, as a
Hmm.
rapper,
I don't know,
I'm
bro.
not saying
That
singing
shit
wise.
was melodic. Like that shit. That shit was like a lullaby to me.
Take Care, really.
Yeah, Take Care was a fucking Take Care would put me to sleep right now if I listened to that shit. That's why it's not like I don't like I like yeah, like I like angry Drake. I like that bitter.
He wasn't angry in Take Care.
No, he was fucking heartbroken in Take Care, if you ask me.
Well, yeah, I got you.
You know what I mean? Like, you
Um,
get it? Like I feel like in Take Care,
so
somebody.
he was so he was more angry than you on Views.
Oh, Views, he was not a savage, but like Redemption. You know, like he was like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, okay, you feel it now, don't you? Like, and he did the Fire and
You know
Desire.
what's funny? Mm-hmm.
Like that's how I feel during breakups. So that's why I get like me and Drake be on the same page. Like, you'll be back. Like, you know what I'm saying? So,
But see, that's the thing. People forget about how many tracks he left over off of Take Care. People forget about how many B-sides that was released after Nothing Was the Same. You know, How About Now was supposed to be on what's the name? Nothing Was the Same.
I didn't know
Um
that actually. I never
it,
knew.
yeah, it was 0 to 100. That was supposed to be on If You're Reading This It's Too Late. You know, so it's a lot of like things that when you're gonna debate Drake, you know, little monkey wrenches you can like put into the mix.
Right.
You know, but I think Views, that was it from front to back. That was like the collection of songs that we can base it off of. And, you know, currently for More Life, that was it. It was like he went in, the premiere was on Apple Music, you got what you got.
What is the shit he dropped? Oh, that was If You're Reading This It's Too Late. He dropped that shit like the
Right.
Beyonce method,
Yeah.
just a midnight on Valentine's Day or some shit, and you're just having to refresh iTunes.
Yeah.
What was this?
I remember that. That was All-Star Weekend, New York,
Yeah.
Brooklyn, and the Knicks. I remember I had to download that. I was on my way to the celebrity game.
See, that right
Literally.
there, what you just said is how I know Drake is the fucking GOAT. Because when he drops albums, anyone I think of, I can tell you exactly where I was when I first listened to that shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's the craziest thing. Like when you just said that, I'm like, damn, I remember exactly where I was too. That's crazy. But see, that album, like he got two off there that are smokers. Other than that, it's like I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. But the Wednesday night interlude, which he's not even on, with Party Next Door, and that shit and
Oh
Jump.
yeah,
Whew,
party smoke that.
Party,
Yeah.
yo, that's one of my favorite like songs of all time. He fucking
From
killed
Party.
for the listeners. Listen, I don't know if you got to have Apple Music, and that's another thing. we're gonna get back to Party Next Door and Drake. I don't argue. I don't talk to niggas who don't have streaming services for music. I see a lot of people with a lot. No, this is a fact, bro. I see a lot of people with a lot of opinion about music, and you're like, oh, okay, so you heard? Nah, I ain't heard that. Okay, did you hear? Nah, I ain't heard that either. Okay, so what do you listen to?
Right.
Well, and then they tell you like YouTube or some shit, or they on. Not even SoundCloud. Like
Pandora.
I don't like people are just on YouTube with opinions about music, and I'm like, girl, you ain't even got the YouTube Red. You can't even close your app. I don't talk to niggas who can't close their app. And I just want to put that out there because we gotta start. The social media is so crazy. I want the lines crystal clear. I want it written in stone. You know what I'm saying? That this is not just I'm shooting off opinions. Like we really put in the work, not the work, because it's not really work, but it's hard to listen to an album or a motherfucker you don't like. I don't know about you, Greg, but for me, to listen to Tyler, the Creator, is grueling to get through. But like with Party Next Door and Drake, like I know it's gonna be a smash when I hear it. I know that whatever it comes out, it's gonna kill. So I had to just put that on the record. But back to Party Next Door also, and Drake, that formula that they have, man. That's why I call More Life a classic. And I know you think
this is all opinion based. Yeah, this is all opinion based by King Bo Price, by the way.
And I know you think I'm crazy.
All the listeners listening.
I'm telling you, listen, Drake's innovation on that shit is what makes it a classic. Like the way, like when you, bro, I still laugh about that shit too. When you said, when I was like, what is More Life? Is it rap? Whatever. You was like, More Life is a playlist. Like I was like, yo, that shit, that shit is hilarious because that's exactly what it is. And I think that's what makes it a classic. That it is really a playlist, and we're not going to appreciate it. It's like American Gangster with Hove. We're not going to appreciate it until it's 10 years old. Well, you are not going to, because I appreciate it.
Nah, see, I don't. Again, I'm not the antagonist. Like I don't. I'm not trashing the album. Sorry, playlist. I'm not trashing it. I'm saying classic. Like classic is. I think we gotta like redefine what it means to people. Just because you like something doesn't mean it's a classic. Now, it might be a classic to you, but overall classic, you can't coin that term unless everybody coins that term in unison. And this has been debated for forever. Especially hip hop has been the first genre to even coin that term. So whether we have Reasonable Doubt, or whether we have Life After Death, or All Eyes on Me, or Machiavelli, or whatever, whatever you like.
Obviously.
Whatever you like, that's cool. But like, until you get a bunch of people, or in unison saying like, "Damn, I agree," or this made it, or I remember the time, like you said, is nostalgic, the whole 9 yards. Like, even when they ask, for all the title people, because one was just alienate one streaming service and not the other. When they interviewed Jay-Z, and they asked him literally, how many classics do you have? And he's going down the line and saying, yeah, this one, this one, this one, this one. I think it was kind of undisputed that, you had he broke down American Gangster, saying that, although on the first listen or when the time was out, people didn't appreciate till now, why it's a classic, Puff being behind the production of majority of the tracks. And like I said, just the background of him making the album in 2 weeks, when he's going through telling you why Blueprint is a classic. He's telling you why during the time, like, that was the best album of that time. And then dropping it on September 11th at that, like, you know, the backstory, like the history of it. That's a classic album.
See, that,
you know, that's the formation of classic albums.
You made a valid point. But what I'm saying is we got to have a little wiggle room, because I'm just looking into the future. Like, even like, you got to also think, and I've said it a couple of times on this podcast, Biggie shit is obviously timeless because it still plays on the radio, right? But if you go back and listen to a lot of, like, when people ask me, yo, Bo, what's your top 5? If I go always say Biggie, Big, and Hove, I'm only really giving you my top 3. So I put them to the side sometimes so I can give you a realistic and more relevant and current top 5. So when I say classic,
why? What? Yeah, realistic to you is your reality. It doesn't have to be suited for somebody else's.
And I don't even that's why I'm trying to be realistic for my reality. Because if you be like, yo, what's your top 5? I'm like, Big, but obviously he's on Mount Rushmore. He's Hall of Fame. So I mean, if you say like who's the best rapper of all time, I'm like Drake. That'd be fucking stupid. Like, that's not realistic. But if you like, I wouldn't say this year. I don't know who the hottest of 2017 was. You have to give me a moment. But if you say who was the hottest of 2014 and 15, Drizzy, obviously, no, not undisputed. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say when you have those runs, you gotta adjust what they brought to the game, and that's why I say like I'm not saying it's the greatest album of all time. I'm not saying that, but the classic, you can't. Obviously, when you put it up against something like Blueprint or any DMX album or anything, it's not the same. It's not the same kind of sound. But for what the time period is right now, that's classic. Because 15 years from now, we're going to look back like, damn, that shit was ill. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Wait, getting back to those 2 artists you named, you said DMX and who else?
What did I say? I said Blueprint, and I said like any DMX album.
You saying DMX never had a classic?
No. See, that's what I'm saying. He did. I'm saying everybody who was on top at some point had a classic. So I was saying DMX had a classic in his time. What was that, 97?
Again.
Hove had his.
Yeah.
We're to the period where Drake is having his run. So what does he bring into the game? So I'm not. That's what I'm saying. It's a different kind of. I'm just saying it's what a classic is. The listeners are with me. For the listeners, they're probably scratching their snapbacks. Like, what did he miss? Like, but everybody has their contribution. I can't think of, like, does Ja Rule have a classic album? No. Did he bring a lot to the game? Sure. You know what I'm saying? So it's
I agree. Even though, you know, that rule 366, 336,
whatever that
was tough. Was tough. But
it was on top of the world, and
again,
I won't take anything from it.
But
classic, hell no.
But again, like,
I haven't listened to it since.
But again, like, like you said, like, you know, within the confines of what a classic is, like, you could pick that album up at any time and still feel the same feeling that you felt when you first heard it. That's a classic, you know, undeniably.
Listen, when Passion Fruit come on in the barbecue at 2030, you're gonna feel it.
Oh no. Again, it doesn't take away from, you know, my opinion of Drake as an artist and what I feel about More Life. I feel like More Life is definitely diverse. It's definitely on rotation, like most of Drake's songs. But can I literally sit here and say, like, oh, he dropped a classic with More Life? I can't say that. I don't know if even the majority of my peers, or, you know, if I threw a poll up, I don't even think they could say that, you know. Again,
What is
the thing about Drake
Chris
too
Brown
is like,
poll at? I gotta go look at that thing. But I'm listening.
yeah, I'm pretty sure I lost. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't change. That doesn't, like people, King Bo Price's fan, or listeners, as we want to say, I know y'all got his back. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like,
wow. No, it was no.
I'll be the bad guy. That's fine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm
objective opinions.
okay. If that was the thank you to the listeners, and let that be the thank you to the listeners. But I get it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, to have a unbiased, uncontrolled poll where, people that don't subscribe and stuff
on the Things Greg Sees Facebook, and we can take it there too. So we get you. So it's fit because you're bugging, but we're gonna enough about Chris Brown. I don't want to go back down that road.
Okay, transition time. Let's go.
Huh?
I said transition time. Let's go.
But as far as Drake Drizzy, right? More Life. He rapped. He gave us some shit that's going crazy in England, which we don't even appreciate. He gave us Passion Fruit, that shit with Party Next Door, that since way back. Talking about that old Kelly is probably one of the greatest things, like sonically, that I've ever heard in my entire life. He barred Meek down. He said, what did he say? He said, damn, some shit about knowing when you're first, but then taking second. Like, and he throws those hints that I like how he strings albums along. And I feel like if you really break down his words, he be calling shit like crazy. Like at first, he was used to tell us how great he was. Every fucking song he was telling us how the greatest rapper he was. Early on. And then now he doesn't even have to say that anymore because we know. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I hate to sit up here and sound like fucking a super fan because if he was.
I mean, you are, so that's why.
This is the thing though, because he's the GOAT. Because if he gave me some trash shit, I would call it like, damn, Drizzy, what is this bullshit? But it ain't. It doesn't happen. I don't even like the crazy. When I first heard More Life, I started playing. I didn't like the first 6 songs. That reggae and Africa shit. I don't listen to that. I'm not saying it's trash. It's just not for me.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So
reggae and Africa shit. I'm thinking he's referring to Afrobeat. So to any of the listeners who listen to Afrobeat.
Nah, facts though. I'm just keeping it a band.
Don't unsubscribe to I Say That to Say This podcast.
Problem. That's the problem with the internet.
Keep subscribing.
How I feel. Why would you unsubscribe? That's crazy. Make sure you go subscribe 2 times and leave a review, and share it with somebody who you think will hear it. But facts. That guy. Shit, like I don't what is that shit? That Blam and all that other shit. Like I don't listen to that bullshit. Right? So, but for some reason, when I was in the car and it was playing, that shit came on and it was like, I'm like, oh, this shit is a vibe. Like, what is that? This shit. I don't listen to shit like this. When it came on.
Oh, we need a rhythm. Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, exactly. When that shit came on, I was like,
he said, whatever, exactly.
Yo, listen. And then the other.
That's a vibe. It's definitely a vibe.
So that's why it caught me, and I'm like, see, I got to be in the mood for certain shit, but it's something about this album. If I'm on shuffle or whatever comes on, I just adjust to it. Like, oh, this is some fire. And I know, like, when you listen, when an album comes on and it really changes your mood, that shit is real. Like when you run something back. See, I see when Flex be running shit back for 5 minutes, I see what kind of vibe he's on. Although it's annoying to me when I'm in the car driving and I want him to get the song off before I fucking park, I respect the vibe. Like, yo, some shit you just got to run back for 10 minutes. And this, if you look at my iTunes history, it's a lot of this Drake up there that I've been just repeating because it's so, I don't know, man. This shit is just different. And that's why I say, like, 5 years from now, 7 years from now, we're gonna look back and be like, yo, he gave us a fucking playlist, and this shit is. I'm not saying it's timeless. I don't know how it's gonna be 50 years from now, but at least within the next 10 years, the next decade, he gave us some heat. What is it? What's that shit? What's that? I forget the dude. Gigs, whichever one of those English dudes, the Batman.
Yeah.
Da-na-na-na-na. We could have did without that.
Yeah.
That shit is. I heard that like, oh, come on, bro. What is this? This your man's? But then I saw the response it was getting overseas, and I was like, all right, that was strategic. I give you that one. I chalk that one in there. You have to.
Oh man.
Yo, let me ask you this also.
Oh, so you give him passes for things.
It's not a pass. I see. This is the thing. It wasn't a pass, right? It was I see what it. I don't know. Like it's not updated because More Life is almost a year old, but I saw the response they had to those songs, and I was like, oh, I don't feel this, but somebody does, and that's what makes it more ill to have like some shit that I may not listen to twice, to see them respond to it like, yo, they fuck with this. Like, okay, all right, who knew? Because I know sometimes I'm ignorant to new music. Like sometimes I'm like, nope. Like, like I said, like I was like that reggae. Like I don't listen to that shit, and I could be missing out on good tunes. So that's why I just respect other opinions about certain shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a pass. It's not a pass, but it's just like oh, okay. I'm trying to open my mind and understand. If that makes sense.
Gotcha. Man, I understand.
So, but let me ask you this. Do you think I think rap gets criticized so hard. Like, is rap the only genre that gets that? Or are two guys sitting on another podcast, like breaking down, saying the new age of rock and roll is trash or whatever the fuck people listen to, or the new age of jazz is garbage? Like, is that happening?
I think anytime you have music, you have, I think anything comes into, it's like a cycle, comes full circle. So, when I was growing up, my dad was, both my parents, they were trying to get me to listen to more instrumentation, the Kool and the Gang, Earth, Wind and Fire, Frankie Beverly and Mays, bands, actual bands, and Parliament Funkadelic, things, actual like music that had instrumentation in it, and calling that classic, not knowing the impact of the genre that me and you were growing up in. Not knowing the impact of R&B, not knowing the impact of hip hop, and many years later now to this point, as I grew up and as my parents began to know who I was as a person and know what type of music I was listening to. I'm lucky enough to share that with them, and them appreciating what I listen to and actually knowing words and having favorite songs and favorite artists and things like that. It's a beautiful thing. Again, if you're totally old fashioned, I don't think that, you're always going to say like, oh, if you're a classical person, you might like classical the best, but, other genres rip other genres all the time.
Facts.
Whether it was country music ripping off R&B, whether it's R&B ripping off of like classical, vice versa. So,
and that's why I ain't fuck with Post Malone when he said that bullshit. Cause I'm like, bro, rock and roll was stolen. What you talking about? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I have my feelings about, because that's what got me. I'm like, see, what's fucked up is you can't tell people I don't listen to rap music and you do it, because you can't rap music doesn't make you feel whatever. You can't discredit all that shit, all that has been put, and then you go and do it, and you're supposed to be the face of it. And I think that's what fucks it up. Like that's what creates that earthquake. You know what I'm saying? So you're 100% right.
Now the influence is uncanny. Like you can't deny, hip hop. You can't deny even Black culture. But one thing as far as music, like I said, it's a cycle. Once you're into something, like, and then you're trying to teach your kids or, peers or even family members something, it kind of sticks with you, whether you like it or not.
But see, now I guess that's where I was more going with it. Do you think it's more like Black culture to break down? Because I swear I don't hear any other genre or anything. Even like when you just mentioned it, you started talking about like R&B. I'm talking about like, dude, they look at Ozzy, because I see the Ozzy Osbourne, and I hear actually Nori point this out also. And I was, when he said it, I was like, yeah, okay, I thought I was bugging. Like I don't hear like Ozzy Osbourne being torn to shreds about how he fell off and he's garbage and he should stop recording. Like these guys fucking tour, they can barely stand up on stage and they out there doing tours. But something about rap, like why do we kick them to the curb after a while? Like, or break artists down, like R&B, like, oh, he fell off. Oh, he's garbage now. Like I really actually hate doing it. Even though I do it.
I mean, that's a cycle. That's a cycle too, man. Like what you were saying earlier, as far as like what coined the classic, like why, back in the 90s we had so many heavy hitters, the DMXs, the Biggies, the Pacs, so on and so forth. And, just the quality of music, like that's the industry, man. That's the industry and the consumer. All those times have changed. Like, our listening has changed.
True. They did
tear spans got shorter.
Clarkson down, now that I think about it.
And at the same time, like, we're not as appreciative of our artists and our music. Is digestible now. So, even the industry itself, like, you hearing major label artists, like, I don't need a deal. I'm gonna put out the quality of music that I like to hear, and independently,
Yeah.
Even the rise of the mixtapes in the 2000s, like the 2000s, like you had to get a mixtape because it was creatively better than the albums that you was hearing because it had no limits to it. And at the same time, the cost, like, you didn't have to worry about spending $13.99 on an album. You could download it or get it off the street for, $5-10.
Shout out to that piff.com. Yo, the mixtape run changed.
So
the mixtape run changed.
Now, actually. Yeah, so now, when you got the internet and, like I said, even the formation of albums, you don't even got people listening to albums. It's like, what singles are you making, to get you enough buzz to the point where, I can invest in you. That's where you got artists now. So, it's a couple things with that, but I feel like
would you? I figured out
just
too. I gotta tell you,
it changed
off the record. But
okay,
would you sign like a podcast deal right now? Like, would you be like, nah, I'd rather just stick independent?
80% of me says stay independent because I know what we want to produce, and I say we because obviously, me and you as a team. So, but again, I would entertain the details. I would definitely see what was out there, but
everything has a price, obviously.
Yeah, but like I said, 80% of me is like, nah, I'd rather kind of like go at this by myself and learn the game. A lot of times that you go into certain things, you have to learn. And, I think, before where it was a lot of money being put out there and artist development was so crucial, we had the outlet where, the industry was willing to teach us. Now, independently, we have to know this. they're not even signing artists unless they know how to have a following. They know how to perform. They know how to, bring something to the table.
Yeah.
So, I think that's important to know your business and to know your brand.
That's definitely a fact. And I gotta for the listeners listening, I got a special announcement to make. It's not yet, but just keep. What's that shit? Save the date for Easter, April 1st. It was April 1st. Yeah, I believe so. April 1st. Save the date on that. But I see that's the thing. Like you have to, even though that's when the labels are gonna call you or whoever, and it's not even about signing a deal, but you have to know the ins and outs of anything you do. But with this music shit, or with like the streaming and this realm of technology, you really got to know your shit. You have to be on your P's and Q's. I looked at just some, but Apple, by the way, also speaking of podcast information, Apple took away the numbers. I can't see how many listeners I have anymore. It just happened today.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So, and that's another thing. Jimmy Iovine left Apple, which I got to keep an eye on also. But when they took away the numbers, right? I was like, well, that's weird, because I was looking for it. And I just said to you last week, I was like, I'm not even going to get into the numbers, but it went up to, I had 52,000 listeners, right? So I'm like, I was just gauging it, like, okay, we're growing, it's getting good. I log in today and I'm looking for the tab, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I was like, well, did they change I'm looking at the going across, and I'm looking, and I'm like, this is weird. So then I don't know, I X'd out, and I happened to go and look at my streaming numbers, and they gave me 81 cents, right, for 1,500 streams. And I was like, see, that means I'm gauging a number, right? So off of listeners, and I'm trying to get the breakdown. Once you take away how many listeners I have, I don't know what the fuck's going on. So
right.
if you're under a label, then you really have no idea, but to look at it myself, I'm like, damn, like the same thing that's happening with the datas and the iPhones is about to happen to us with, like, in the podcast world, or in the, I don't know what to call. What do you call this? Like, I don't want to call it entertainment, because that sounds too formal, but
Hollywood is.
No, but like, like the podcast. Yeah, I guess it's just podcast world, because it's not radio. It's not. But for the podcast world,
right.
I'm like, damn, they doing us like the music artists. Like, they're just gonna, like, yeah, you don't need it. Don't worry about it. And I thought that was very strange. I'm like, see, you have to be in the loop with these big companies, or you got to spend a lot of time doing research.
Sure.
But I guess we're taking it day by day. But anyway, make sure you keep a fucking lookout for April 1st, Easter Sunday. Now, we were talking about criticizing rap. I know you wanted to say your piece about social media, because social media, there's a lot of criticism and bullshit being thrown around, which I talk about. And you know what? While on the subject, before we get into that real fast, so I got a sidebar for 2 seconds. There's a officer in Chicago. Her name is Jennifer Maddox. She's doing a wonderful job because I talked about on episode 31 how, like, I feel like we focus on the negativity too much. And I want to start, and I have a lot of fun on the podcast, obviously, but when I talk about serious shit, sometimes I like to update people and give solutions. So I was talking about the violence in Chicago and how things are fucked up there, and I feel like nobody cares, and I hate to get real serious for a moment, but before we start talking about social media and get ridiculous and get the jokes off, I want to get this out of the way. But Jennifer Maddox is working with kids. She's opening up after school centers and just putting a lot of time in. She has an ultimate goal to reach up to 1,200 kids. You know what I'm saying? And she's working with kindergarten through 5th graders. And I'm gonna post a story in the show notes. I want you guys to take a look at it, because like I said, we focus a lot on the bullshit, but there are still people doing good things in the world. It's not all social media fuck shit. is people trying to be out there and really get their feet on the ground and make a difference. And Officer Jennifer Maddox, we salute you here at the I Say That to Say This podcast. I appreciate you. Now we'll get back to the fun shit, but I had to get that off the way. Anyway, you talked about your social media was getting a little sensitive. You talked about, I think you said some shit about your Facebook. Oh no, it was the gram. You were talking about.
I think it's all social. So all social media.
Social media period as a whole.
When it comes, when it comes down to it, I feel like there's just a sensitivity in social media that has amongst time has made followers feel either more powerful behind the tool of typing behind their phone, or just super sensitive when it comes to not agreeing with your opinion. You could say oh, the sky is blue. Somebody says oh, it's orange. And it's oh, well, I'm blocking that person. That person's trolling me.
You got to clean out your newsfeed, bro.
It's just it's ridiculous. I remember the last episode which we spoke about. It was man, I'm too nice. You need to start blocking people. I'm I don't do all that. I'm not, I'm not into social media to start paying attention to people who don't like me or don't agree with what I say. I'm into it because I have a cause, I have a voice, and I want to use it to the best of my ability. It doesn't mean that we have to agree. It just means I got something to say, and as do they. But all I ask is for respect. Don't threaten to kill me or murder my children.
On social media, that still happen. I didn't know death threats.
No. That would be called cyberbullying. But
what's with you and bullying? That's the second time you brought up. That's the second time you brought up cyberbullying.
No, because I'm trying to get all the terms right. It's I had a follower of mine, and I posted a post that to me it was funny. So I think once we have our profiles and things like that, we like to show all sides of our character. And one thing about me, I'm very sarcastic, and I also I like to make fun. I like to laugh at myself. I like to make fun of myself. And fortunately, it's one of those posts that had me thinking, and I laughed. And several other followers laughed too. But this one particular follower was oh, you're body shaming people, it's corny, this, that, and the third. Okay, so now your insecurities, I have to feed into that because you don't like it. Instead of you ignoring it or you scrolling past it, you have to take it to the next degree of telling other followers who's not even paying attention that the person is body shaming because of the post.
But see, technically,
what kind of time
she won if you're still thinking about it, and that's why they do it.
No. I it's not even winning. I don't take it like that. I'm just saying that if we have time to do, all of this unnecessary action, then instead of just coming to agreeing to disagreeing or coming to a common point, now we're in competition. That's the part that I don't get. That's the part that I don't understand as far as like you said, I'm still thinking about it. I brought it up for reference, but I'm not thinking about it. That person doesn't, when I wake up in the morning, it doesn't make or break my day. It's unfortunate that we have people, who really value the internet and don't use it for the tool that it is used to be for. So, instead of networking, socializing, possibly, making opportunity for others and for even some a business, You know, we got a lot of people that pour their emotions. They read these things. They get hurt by it. They have all kinds of technicalities behind it. It's just a shame to me. So, you know, I'm not asking what do we do, but I'm just saying that, you know, we have to grow from this.
I mean, see, I don't know. Like, see, that's one thing I don't, and I bitch about social media a lot. And the things that I see on social media, like as far as like the like, not the news. Yeah, I guess like the news, or people pushing the news or whatever, you know, they push in front of us. But as far as like the comment section, no, never. Like that's one thing I stay away from that shit. And I just like recently, over the past like 6 months, you know what, probably a year when I started the podcast, I never really looked at my mentions. I used to log on Twitter, talk my shit, and close it back out. Like I never even looked at that shit because I know it's toxic. Like I know it's people just, they want to.
Yeah, it could be one person to set you off.
That's what because we're gonna admit it here. We will all wake up and grab our phone. It happens. Like that's just what we do. So if you wake up, you grab your phone and see some fuck shit before you take a shower in the morning, your day is fucked. Like it'd be the dumbass comments to be like, really? You look and just thinking about how this shouldn't annoy you annoys you. So when we get to that point, it's not good. So that's why I trained myself somehow to not. When I see like stupid shit on the internet, I'm like, well, you wouldn't say that to me if you were in front of me. So I just scroll. Like, so I really don't. It's like wax on, wax off. I swear, it's the weirdest thing. I don't process it. Like I only process good energy and good jokes on the internet. I've trained. It took me a long time. It was hard. Don't get me wrong. But it took me a long time to be like, when I see some weird shit, that's when I know, like, I close out the app. Like, I do it, like, it's like a habit now. Or I do it, like, subconsciously. Like, as soon as I see some bullshit, I close it out, and I'm like, all right, no, this is crazy. Because like we talked about, though, like, that fake sensitivity shit, like, your body shaming, like, oh, everything got to have a fucking label. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
right. That's the part that's like.
And I just talked about it also with a guy. With Matt from Vancouver. Big shout out to the Belligerent Canadian podcast. But I was talking about it with him. I see like this was news outlets like New York Times and whatever else saying Monica Lewinsky was a hero. She was slut shamed and Me Too'd. And I'm like, look, slut shamed. Okay, cool. I'll give you that if you want to use that term. But like the Me Too, I was like, she wasn't like raped. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? So when I see shit like that, it annoys me. But as far as like if someone just randomly said it, no, I don't go for that. Because even like what are your feelings about the H&M shit?
I actually have no comment.
This nigga said I have no comment. Yo, you know
no comment on that. I've you know what? I've seen it across my timeline, and I just like how you said, like you don't entertain the comments. I couldn't even entertain that.
See, that's why I want to know. That's why I'm curious. Like, cause it was one blogger. I forget her name. I could go find it if you give me a moment, which I will. Mm-hmm. It was one blogger to set that story off. Like that's what bugged me out about it. I was like, yo, because it wasn't in fucking Chicago Mall. That was a UK design. You know what I'm saying? So when I guess I don't. Well, first of all, I don't shop at H&M, but I wouldn't have seen it. Right? So UK blog. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking, like, you know, if I say someone I was following posted that, like a screenshot, I would be like, wow, that's crazy. And I would have kept scrolling, like, wow, that's what. But like to see the outrage and all the other shit, I'm like, wow, this started from one person. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's fucking nuts. And she started getting death threats, and her mentions was crazy. People was calling like, yo, you are a fucking monkey and all this other shit. And I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, what is it? Because at first, listen, I know people have weird ass nicknames for their kids, right? So like people like, hey, stinker, like, or oh, look at my little monkey. Like, I don't personally believe in that. Like, I don't call my son a little monkey. I would never do that. And if somebody said that to my son in like a grocery store, it's going down. It's on site. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, oh, listen, let me tell you that monkey shit. No, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? So when I saw it, I got where they were coming from. I got the people were angry. And then it was this whole big outrage. And then make a long story short, the mom was like, you guys are making a big deal out of this. Mind your fucking business. And I was like, see? And then I see people attacking the mom. They're telling the mom how she should feel. Like, no, you should be outraged. And I was like, look, I think she should be outraged too, I guess, for whatever that's worth. Like, H&M should, I don't know, but they got to donate some money or whatever the fuck businesses do. They can't be using this shit as free promotion, which I think they're doing at this point, but that's another story. But I would see people like telling her how to feel. And I'm like, see, there it is again, the comment section. I was like, if you want to make this a real thing and make it about the kid and the company violated, which they did, they violated. I don't know how that sweater went past a group of, it's probably a group of 9 old white men that were like, yep, this is a great idea. They passed it over to one fucking 22-year-old intern that was like, they were like, do you think this is good? And he was like, yeah, because he didn't want to say no. And they went through however that process went, it failed because that shit was trash. But when people get to telling you like how to feel, like that's why I'm like, nah, the internet is, so I get you, but you can't, like, because now even I feel like with that argument, the story's over. I'm like, see, now we're not even arguing about the kid in the company. Now we're arguing about how everyone feels about it, and we lost it. So that storm of fucking comment section, bottom line, I was saying all that to say, stay away from that shit.
Well put.
UK blog H&M. I Googled it, but that's just not coming up. So, Sophia Rowe? No. I'll find it and I'll post it in the show notes.
I was about to say.
Oh yeah, Stephanie Yeboah or some shit. I'll post it in the show notes. But anyway, and that's all I got to say about that. But listen, man. So when is the podcast coming? When can we expect a little something?
Oh, that's a question. I mean, we still going over a lot, man. I mean, you tell me, are we ready?
See, that's the thing. You know me. I'm quick draw McGraw. Went to art school, so I'm like, yo, I will put up anything. You, the quote unquote perfectionist, which is another argument we've had. You have a different approach. So, I'm the 21 Savage of podcast. Like I just go like.
Right.
And you be on your what's that shit? Dr. Dre detox. Now,
yeah, I'll take that.
I won't say detox because detox ain't give us shit. Usually, got episodes up on Sounds and Vibes playlist. Excuse me, pardon me, Sounds and Vibes radio, not the playlist.
Right.
Got to get my plugs right, but. So
yeah, we're gonna get more into that. Like I said, soon, man. As far as another episode of Sounds of Vibes Radio, we know the people. Shout out to everybody that's been lately listening to episode 2. Really appreciating those good African vibes. All my Afrobeat fans, despite what King Bo Price been saying, like we do have a lot of people interested in Afrobeats and reggae, like not to pick apart anybody that likes good music, but we definitely we got more for you. Like I said, 2018, we just getting started. We just want to get the business right.
That's a fact.
That's my comment, official comment to that. Just want to get the business right. I know. You
First
like,
of all,
yo.
that no comment
I
is
heard.
crazy.
I heard. Nah, man. I really don't have it. Like, I honestly like. I could just say like, yo, honestly, I just don't give a fuck. But, but that's not morally
Now
sensitive.
that's okay. That's more my speed. Like I just don't give a
You know what I'm saying?
That's I respect that. Like I asked you, like,
saying?
see H&M, like I don't give a fuck about that. I'll be like, okay, you're better off. You let it roll
Like
off.
it just doesn't.
Good for you.
Okay. I just like I want to be, conscious of your listeners, and at the same time, people that actually like me.
Listen, see that's the thing. My podcast likes if you what I've got from the listeners that listen to me, and listeners, please at Kingbo Christ, let me know if I'm wrong and I've taken this wrong. But what I've got from them is they like when they feel like the microphone's not on. I treat this shit like my life. Like this is my, I can't, like I told you in July when we first met, like I could rap, but I wouldn't do it because I'm almost 30 years old. And I think to start a rap career at 29 is crazy. But a podcast, I don't have to rhyme. This is better for me. I actually like this. I could get my shit off and do what I do. And I think they fuck with that more when I don't. See, but that's why I say I could perceive it wrong, because there's other listeners that like me when I be on my structured interviewing a fucking like someone like Truck Gordon or whoever else. And so it varies, but for the most part, they like when the podcast, they feel like it's not on. So if you be like, yo, I'd be like, whatever. How do you feel? Like, yo, did you see? And you're like, man, fuck that shit. I get more LOLs and like, yo, no, facts, fuck that shit. I don't be paying that shit no mind. Then, when I try to dissect some shit, people, they just feel how they feel. Like they may agree, disagree, but the realness, they always respect that.
Well put.
But, that just be me off the sour diesel. Anyway, man, listen, I always enjoy our music breakdowns. I think next week we should go into listeners, and let us know if you'd like to hear this. I think we should go into like a G-Unit versus Dipset ranking. See, I like to go old school because that's the era I like to live in. But
okay,
who do you think was the best group of like the early 2000s? I always want to say, and I guess you could throw Rockefeller in there because they don't really count as a group to me, so that's why I don't count them. But they technically were.
Okay.
Are they? Rockefeller. Yeah, Rockefeller's not really a group. They weren't a group. So I guess G-Unit or Dipset, I want to have that debate because I'm curious.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah. Oh, who was better?
I don't want to say who was better because that's always subjective. I want to just
that's
like who,
like most of these
was more impactful.
Points that we bring up is always subjective.
No, Chris Brown is a fucking classic. More Life is a classic.
Here we go. Here we go.
But as far as like who is more impactful, that could be fact-based. I like to, because that's another thing about the listeners. They don't just like you got to know what you're talking about because people on Twitter will Google that shit and let you know. So they also like when I'm not,
I mean, I think that goes without saying who's more impactful, but we'll.
And we get into it next week. You don't fucking do that politician shit. Now I want to know. See, because the thing about things Greg sees, this fucking guy is like Dick Shaw. He'll just leave a little clue and want you to wait until fucking next December, the Christmas episode, to tell you what.
Well, by far, actually, the Dipset is actually the answer, but by far they were the most influential and impactful.
Now I'm listening.
Another disagreement?
Yeah,
wow. Okay.
The crazy shit is like that's I kind of felt like you was gonna say that, and that's what made me. Like I want to feel you, but I don't. Like I want to pause. I want to
clothing. I'm gonna hit 3
clothing
points.
though.
Clothing.
G-Unit had clothing, bro. Even though them tank tops was ugly, they had them.
No, but nobody wore that, man. Like, yo, you talking about like
that's hilarious.
Like, yo. When I'm talking about the bandana phase,
nobody wore that.
When I'm talking about the jersey phase, the Air Force One being influential. When I'm talking about the influence of pink in the culture, that's way more than the G-Unit thinker.
I gotta give you, but 50 had niggas thinking it was gangster and it wasn't.
You know what I'm saying? True. G-Unit tank top is going as most flubs of the early 2000s.
I gotta give you facts. That shit was.
But that
deer tops.
But that Diplomat album, the first one, was one of the most slept on double albums ever.
You know, see, this is the thing though.
One of the best albums in 2003.
Beg for Mercy was better than that, bro. When did Beg for Mercy come out? The next year?
Wow.
Beg for Mercy was better.
Nah.
You know what?
We
gotta put a button on it because now I gotta go back and listen. Now I gotta go back and listen now because I could go on for another hour about this if you if you want the truth.
Yeah, we're not gonna do that now. Let's go with our next episode.
Put a button on that right there.
We could put a poll for the people who for the listeners listening.
Fuck the people, because G-Unit is like G-Unit was my early Drake. Like I believed in 50. I was a believer. Listen, I'm gonna tell you some crazy shit. I bought the tank top, but I never wore it. Like I bought the shit. And then I tried it on in the mirror, and I was like, nah. I was like, nah, this is crazy. And I never wore the shit outside, but I did buy one, so that if you buy the tank top,
I don't know if you can actually win on that debate as far as Beg for Mercy being better than.
Not dead ass. Wait, if I include the mixtape run, it's over. G-Unit mixtape.
Well, obviously they invented the mixtape era, so like
that's what I was gonna say. So when you talk about Pink, I'm talking about that.
I'm talking about
as far as impact. When you talk about Pink, I give you that. Yeah. When you talk about impact, also that's where I was gonna go with it. Like they invented the mixtapes, which changed the mixtape run, changed music. So like their impact is we still feel that shit. Because they was getting money. They were selling them shits for $6 in at the Coliseum.
Yeah.
And 50 was getting paid. That was the most independent. They were at the highest independent level you could ever be. And that's what changed the game.
Right.
But I'm gonna put a button on that because I could go on. But listen, listeners, I appreciate you listening to our rap debates. See, that's why I didn't fuck with Everyday Struggle, because the niggas, they be yelling too much. And when you got your headphones in, that shit is crazy. I'm like, nigga, why are you yelling? Like, so I appreciate things Greg sees, keeps everything level. You know what I'm saying? We appreciate you listening. KingBoChrist.com, and make sure you go to that podcast app and do what it do, like I say in the intro. Greg, what you got to leave with the people, man?
Nah, man, just stay with us. Stay tuned. And, like what King Bo Price would say, some stupid anecdote. At the end of the day, live your life. We out.
Facts. listeners, if you're listening in the podcast app, I need you to go rate this. So make sure you search King Bo Christ or search by the podcast name. I say that to say this. Leave a 5-star rating. I don't know, a goat emoji or something, some nice words, and hit send. I appreciate you listening. Thank you.